Hello and welcome to the Codec Moments podcast. I'm Andy Brown at Clinical Andy on Twitter, and joining me, as ever, today is Mr. Ali Cornwall.
Hello.
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Good. And Dr. Matthew Holt.
Hello.
Right. So today we've come together after our live show last week. That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that.
It was.
It's always nice doing a live one.
Also quite nice today that we're not being interrupted by Discord constantly. And today we're going to talk about game services.
Yes.
As I think one of the big announcements just before E3 was Google's did they call it their Stadia Connect?
I'm not sure.
Basically it was their Stadia announcement. So their brand new streaming service that's been we've been talking about for a little while now. They finally fleshed out the details just before E3, and I mean, was anybody here affected by it?
No. I think 66.6% recurring of this podcast were affected by it.
Two-thirds of us may have hedged our speculative bets.
Yeah. Why not?
But to be honest, my decision is based on the fact I don't have to actually pay any real money until it ships in November. So there's lots of time for me to change my mind, which is exactly what happened with PSVR for me back in 2016.
Yeah, I remember our chat going, "Oh, have you seen this?" And Matt was pretty much straight away, "Nah, not fussed. We'll see." And then me and Andy were like, and then it was. Yeah, I might have pulled the trigger. Yeah, me too.
I may have done that. Yeah. But we're not just here to talk about Stadia, but I think it's a nice entry point to talk about the more recent game services phenomenon that we've seen.
I think it kickstarted a conversation, didn't we? That you've gone into the pre-order element, you sold on the tech and what it could potentially offer, which is great. But then we started to see the little bits of detail about what comes as part of the subscription, what doesn't. And it got us comparing it to a few other services and thinking about what the services do. And I'm hesitating slightly because I don't know actually if it's good or bad. I genuinely don't. I think because we're just moving to subscription models for so many things now. It's feeling a little bit alien, because it's like you're going to get the launch of what's almost a new console with no sort of games attached to it, which is a bit weird in my mind anyway.
I suppose the concept was kind of started with PlayStation Plus. I think it's fair to say, so we've had Xbox Live, we've had Gold for quite a while.
I think that's the longest running one, isn't it?
But I think PlayStation Plus was the first thing that actually gave you that added value for a subscription service, because Plus wasn't about playing online to begin with. It was about extras.
Yes.
Back on the PS3.
Back on the PS3, your online was free. Subscribing to Plus netted you some games each month that you could play to your heart's content whilst you have the subscription.
And then other benefits, more storage, other stuff came along with that before the PS4 came out, and it was a full-on online subscription service.
Yes.
On a par with Gold.
Yes.
By which time we had Games with Gold, which is throwing an additional, added value for your subscription there as well.
Yep.
So I think that's kind of the genesis, the precursor of all of these services. The first one that kind of really struck me as just being about the games that was outside of the other platforms was the EA Access, and that's an interesting model. So what's the best way to look at this then? Are we going to break them down? Are we going to break down what the services are, what they offer?
Yeah, we can go through each one and just kind of give you the pros and cons, the costs, and the value for money.
And I think in a way we should take PlayStation Plus and Xbox Live Gold out of the equation in a way, because they're kind of essential. They're staples now in a way. If you want to play,
apart from some games, if you want to play online, you have to have those subscriptions.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I mean is they're essential really in a way. If you want the full functionality of the console, and I suppose in a way Stadia is kind of similar in
Ish.
that.
Yeah.
It's similar in that, but we'll move on to that in a bit, I think. So, well, what I say, take Xbox Live Gold out of it. They've recently introduced their own
Meal deal.
Meal deal.
Back of the Chris and the banana.
So recently we had the introduction of Game Pass, and then now basically wrapping that all up together. So Ali, talk us through that proposition.
Previously, or you can still do it now, you can go on and buy Xbox Game Pass for $7.99 a month, and you get access to over 200 games. What they announced at E3, which has been rumoured for a very long time, is bundling Xbox Live Gold with Game Pass at a healthy price of $10.99 a month, I think it is, which then makes it Ultimate, and that then becomes a Xbox Game Pass, Xbox Live Gold, and you get the Game Pass on the PC as well, which is the ultimate bit. So you get to play your games anywhere, which is one of the Xbox's big things these days. A lot of them are, it's a play anywhere title. They're very much putting that into the consumer's hands, that if you buy, it's mainly, as far as from what I can remember, first party titles, so Gears of War, Halo, things like that, that if you buy it on the Xbox or the PC, you can play it on either. And they've got this very much a little bit like the Switch mentality of you buy a game and you play it anywhere. So they've now bundled that all in. So if you did have Game Pass before, you could only play, so State of Decay 2, for example, you could play that on your Xbox, but then if you couldn't play it anywhere, regardless if you had Game Pass, because you didn't own it on PC. So now they've put that all under one umbrella.
I think it's perhaps not a great parallel to say it's that Switch mentality, because the Switch Play Anywhere it's one device that you can dock or you can take away. You still potentially need to have a PC that will run these games if you're playing the download versions.
Yes, yeah, but I think they want to be able to allow people to play it wherever they want. So, for example, now if you were playing your Xbox in the front room, your wife wants to watch something on TV, she could kick you off the TV, and if you've got a good enough PC, and this is boring xCloud because we don't really know a lot about that,
no,
you could then go to your PC, your laptop, as long as it's good enough, and then continue playing it on that.
But this is interesting because we did a podcast, 2 years ago, 18 months ago, about the Universal Windows platform, which was essentially their new dev kit, if you remember that, Matt.
That might be about 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
It's quite a while back.
And this is now coming to fruition. So that was where they're talking about, you take all the tools and you develop on this one platform, and then it will run on any Windows implementation. It's just what bells and whistles happen to be enabled, which is great. And it's a good proposition. I mean, they're going on Game Pass on its own, $7.99 for more than 200 games that you can download, or can you stream as well? No,
you just download them. But they have upgraded something in their servers recently, which speeds up the download process. I don't know whether that's just on Xbox full stop or Game Pass games, but I don't know whether it's fully live yet or not. It went a little bit quiet, or it's just done. But they've put something in where it downloads it a lot quicker, so you can't stream them. But it's a little bit like playing it on PC, and I think it's on PlayStation as well, where it gets to a point where it says it's ready to play, so you can play it now. But if it is an online game, you can't access certain maps, and there are some games now as well. Call of Duty is one that springs to mind. When you install it, it says, "Do you want multiplayer first or single player first?" Which is quite nice. Yeah. So if you're not bothered about jumping into single player, say you guys go, "Oh, let's all go on this and have a game," I can say, right, I just need to download it, but I'll focus on multiplayer, which it's not streaming, but it's quite nice.
Yeah. I hadn't actually thought of it in this context before. Obviously, like you say, you've got to download the titles. So the PC edition that they've put into the Game Pass, do you think Microsoft are using it to expand their base? Or actually, is this actually just to make it more convenient for those Xbox owners who happen to own the PC hardware for the games?
I think it's to expand it, because you're seeing a lot more services that have a PC service. So Uplay is they're doing a PC only one, but EA Access have the Origin access, which allows PC players to do it. So I think they're expanding it, and I think it's whether they've seen a lot of people saying things on the forums and whatnot, where you can put suggestions and whatnot, where you say, I love Game Pass on my Xbox, but it's a play anywhere title, but I can't play it anywhere because I've got it on Game Pass here, but not here, so I've got to buy it.
No, so fair enough.
Whether they see people
that makes sense.
Drop in the service to then buy the games that they want. Say Sea of Thieves, you can't play it anywhere, you'd have to buy it.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just me speculating.
No, it makes sense. Like you say, if they're advertising it to play anywhere and then they stick it on the Game Pass and you are restricted,
yes,
then it isn't within their ethos. That does make sense. I hadn't thought of it that way.
Yeah. But the service as a whole, I know I've kind of skimmed over it a bit. There is a lot of games on there. Majority, I won't say all, but majority of anything that's come via Xbox Studios or whatever they class it as, like in-house, 9 times out of 10 will go into Game Pass at launch. I know, obviously, we have seen articles where they do get money from that. It doesn't affect figures.
Yeah, Crackdown 3 is a prime example of that. Went straight to the service and, didn't do that well critically.
No.
But actually was really highly played because it was on the service.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. And you've had Sea of Thieves on there, State of Decay, Gears of War is going on there, and if you've got the ultimate version of the Game Pass bundle, you get the ultimate version of that game. So you get all of the DLC and you get to play it early. And that's the first game on that service that's... Because I was like, so you only get that if you get the ultimate edition, but then it's upgraded for £1, so who cares?
Yeah.
But you get the ultimate version of the game. So it's not... Because originally, I think when they said it in their E3 conference, it was, if you've got the ultimate version, you get to play it 5 days earlier than everyone else. And we're like, well... Great, thanks for that. But that's because you get the ultimate version of the game, which would be probably close to £100 if you was to buy that. But you get to play it early and you get all the DLC.
It's a good offering, and it's no wonder that it's been such a success. It's been highly lauded.
Yeah.
What really struck me just as we were pulling notes together today was I've always seen PlayStation Now as kind of the pretender to the throne in terms of what they're offering and what they're doing and the capabilities. Almost a bit of a joke. And I like the PlayStation platform. I have an Xbox, but I tend to play on the PlayStation. Matt obviously is a PlayStation fanboy, so you'll know all about it.
You two tonight.
Yeah, I know, we're awful, aren't we? We're horrible.
But I was just going to say, I might know where you're going, I might not. But just to mention, I tried out the PlayStation Now service back on the PS3. I streamed. I had the month's free trial. I gave it a go. I gave up because I just don't like the level of pixelation and dropout and stuff that you were getting with it, and it just wasn't the quality I was looking for. But that's years ago.
Yeah, and I think this is where I think where I'm going, because what I'm about to say is it wasn't until we pulled together the notes for this episode that I was like, "There's 750 games on that service." Right.
It's over 3 times more than any other service.
Ow! What are these games?
I'd love to know what their, not retention rate is, but how many people actually use that service.
And you can stream, and now you can download most of them. And I'll be honest, I did know that you could download, but I know it's not commonly known.
Well, I didn't until a couple of episodes back when you told me, because I did that month's trial, and then I've not bothered since because it just wasn't something I was interested in. If I'd known this level, but then saying that, they don't put the brand new games on like some of the other services do.
Yeah. And I didn't know it was available on PC either. Not that really matters for me, but you think Xbox, absolutely, I don't know, just in terms of marketing, Game Pass has been a runaway success.
Yeah.
So how are PlayStation not promoting PS Now more and saying, "Oh yeah, Game Pass, we've got like nearly 3.5-4 times as many games as
all they needed to do is just offer it as like a £2 supplement on your Plus subscription each month.
Yeah,
just do that. And you know what? I'd pay the extra £2 for access to 750 games.
But then, I'm sorry, this podcast made me go all high pitched and a bit shouty. But the other thing that I just don't get about PS Now is it's like £13 a month. It's just again, it's not quite twice the price of Game Pass. And when you look at it, you think, well, they've got a lot more games. That does make... But you just think, what are you doing?
It's not in line, is it? It is not in line with the pricing of the rest of the market.
To me, it seems like another Vita situation and all the other things where they've gone, let's do this and let's plough loads of effort into it to start off with. Oh, it's not a success. We'll just leave it there to tick over.
Well,
You're
absolutely right. And I think it's what Andy's getting at, is it wasn't particularly successful. It wasn't the best service out there. No. But they've not given up on this. They've kept, over the last 6 or 7 years, improving it and upgrading it. I'm wondering if it's actually worth just giving it a shot for a month to see what it's like.
Yeah, but why not shout from the rooftops about it? I mean, one of the things with the Game Pass is they have their own Twitter account, and they have a right laugh on there with trying to do little teasers about what the next game's going to be. And they'll go, oh, look, we've just accidentally shown you this email, but purposely changed some of the words so you can't see what it is about what's coming next month and things. But with that kind of potential service in that back pocket and the surgence of these services, why aren't they shouting from the rooftops about it?
The only thing I can think, Ali, is that they've blown their entire marketing budget on licensing these 750 games.
Maybe.
I don't know. But
it's a hell of a
service. Get it. Yeah, it's amazing when you look at kind of what the offerings are.
We probably need to do a follow-up episode on this where at least one of us has given it a shot for a few days. Just
which is there's 750 games, but 740 of them are
I imagine if neither of you two signed up to it, you should be able to get some form of free trial. There might be a 7-day free trial. It might be worth having a look. Just to see what they're like, because I don't think I'll be entitled to it.
I think I laughably signed up to it when I lived in Sheffield just to see if I could even run anything. Yeah.
I'll have a look. I might be able to do it. I don't think I think I looked at it maybe on the PS3, but I had a different account back then, so I can have a look. But just to finish off Game Pass, the only
sorry, that was
one of the no.
Did somewhat hijack that. I do apologise, but I felt like it was a comparison that genuinely.
Well, it is a little bit because it's it's console owners, isn't it? Like apples for apples. The only negative thing, in a way, is that some games do cycle out on the Game Pass. So far, I've not played one where it does cycle it out, and the good thing is they do, and it pops up on your Xbox as well, they do give you a warning to say, this game that you've installed off the Game Pass is going out in the next month. I'm not sure if they give you 2 months notice or something like that, but it's definitely a month.
Does it stop it from working then when it cycles out, or do you get to finish it and then when you delete it, you can't get it again?
No, once it's off, it'll say you've not purchased this.
So you can't even play it?
No. But 9 times out of 10...
But it gives you plenty of warning.
Yeah, it gives you plenty of warning, and it would have been on there for a substantial amount of time, and you may have it from gold anyway. So there are some games on there that you may have picked up from gold.
Okay.
So I think the other one's worth mentioning. Well, the other one worth mentioning at this point, there's 2 others, which are EA Access.
Yep.
And this new Uplay Plus that they've announced.
Yeah, so they're both available on PC.
Yeah.
So all of them are available on PC that we're talking about, I think. EA Access is a great service. I don't know why that Sony originally, when EA said about it 2, maybe 3 years ago, that they brought that service, and Xbox went, bring it on our platform, and Sony went, no, we've got our own service, which clearly they've just plowed loads of money into and done not a lot else with.
There's 750 games. Well, perhaps instead of telling me, you should just tell everybody else. But
yeah.
In fairness, EA Access is more like the PS Plus than it is the PS Now, isn't it? Because you've got to download the games. And...
Yeah. No, so it's $3.99 a month, so it's one of the cheaper ones.
It's cheap. It's really cheap.
Yeah. You kind of don't notice it coming out each month, or it's £20 a year.
You pick it up on an annual subscription. It's less than £2 a month.
Yeah. It's amazing. There are only 50 titles in there, which isn't great, and they go into what's called the Vault.
Yeah. So 47 of them are FIFA.
Well,
do you know that is
NFL?
That is the downside, and an NBA.
I've been slightly flippant, but I'm obviously not that wrong.
No, it's true.
Oh, you've kind of hit the nail on the head.
But then again, what else do they offer as a publisher? If you're with me, because you can get Jedi Knight on there, so that especially on the 360, I don't know what's going to happen when it goes to the PlayStation version, but there are some backwards compatibility games.
Yeah.
So you have got those on it. And when I mentioned Black earlier, and Andy was like, "Oh, I love that game."
Yeah.
And he said it just like that.
I love that game.
But so there are a lot of sequels for it. So you've got Plants vs. Zombies, Plants vs. Zombies 2, and things like that. Titanfall is on there, but what's their new one that's just come out?
Apex.
Anthem. Anthem isn't on there.
Apex is free to play, so
yeah.
Well, yeah.
But it wouldn't surprise me if they put it on access.
It wouldn't surprise me if they put it on there anyway.
Yeah. Anthem's not on there yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if it does go on there fairly soon. So, in terms of what they offer, there isn't a massive range because, let's be fair, I'm not a football fan. I don't think any of us really are. You've played one, you've played them all, and
you've got people hissing after listening to you say that.
I know, but it's true. Same with the NFL. I like NFL. I watch NFL. I support them. A lot of the games are pretty much the same.
But also, if you're a FIFA player, you'll probably have the latest version anyway. So
exactly.
What does it matter if the legacy versions are on access? It's neither here nor there, is it?
The one thing that EA Access offers over everything else is discounts and trials, I guess is the best way to put it. So not all the games, but a lot of new games that come out. And to be fair, they do say not all games, but I think pretty much every single one has. And it has this 10 hours free, which initially was 4 hours, I believe, when it very first launched. And it's only recently that they've, in the last 6 months or so, maybe a year, up that to 10 hours free play of the game. There is a little trick behind it. Don't leave it in standby mode because it will tick down. But
really?
Yes, yeah. I think they may have changed something since then, but when it first came out, it used to tick down, and people are like, "What? I only played it for half an hour, turned off my Xbox, came back, and it's gone." And they're like, "Yeah, did you leave it in standby mode or kind of active?" And they went, "Yeah." And they went, "Oh, it's ticking down."
We got you.
Yeah. But it is quite good because you do get to play the games early as well. So if you don't want to buy the ultimate edition of FIFA or whatever, or even if you just want to see if it's worth the hype and the buying the new title, you get to play it for 10 hours for free. And 10 hours is pretty generous. That's a long time.
Can I just insert a stock EA joke here?
Shoot.
10 hours, that's more than enough time to play any single-player campaign in an EA game.
True. Yeah, I do wonder sometimes that you could But the thing is I think this is where it gets you because there was a game I played, I think it was Mass Effect, and it says 10 hours. However, they did cap it at a certain level. And when you were about to go and kind of start your next mission, you were going to go in your spacecraft to go to another planet. It said demo ended. And you can free roam in that area and do whatever you wanted to, but it did stop you. They do put those walls in. So although you're saying, and that's probably why they do that, Andy, because 10 hours for some gamers could possibly complete the game twice, and why do I need to buy it? And they do put those walls in. Yeah. And I'm fairly certain that was on Mass Effect Andromeda when that came out, that you could only get so far, and then there was this wall, and it was like, right, although you've got time left, you can by all means go to wherever you've got to so far, but you can go no further.
It's an interesting proposition, and I suppose it does work for them either way, because I remember you telling us about your Anthem experience. You were hyped up for that. You were going for it, but you tried it on the Access and then decided not to buy it. Sunk you 10 hours in and went, actually, I've had enough on that.
I've not even completed my 10 hours yet.
So not even done your 10 hours, but I suppose from EA's point of view, they're still like, well, I've got Ali's £4. He hasn't bought the game, but actually I've had the money off him.
It's totally that though. It is priced absolutely brilliantly for that kind of speculative. Well,
yeah. I mean, cost of a coffee. That's right there.
Yeah, £20 for a year. I'll keep that.
Yeah,
and that is what makes the Ubisoft, the Uplay Plus that they've just announced, again a slightly jarring proposition. And it's like £15 a month, which is kind of full on subscription territory. Yeah.
And the last thing with the EA Access is that you get 10% off the games in the store as well. So you kind of almost get your money back if you decide to buy a game.
Yeah.
Almost. Not quite, but if you're with me, a £40 game.
No, but you will. You're right. That month, you'll get that monthly feedback if you bought the game. So face it, the digital store price is not the same as bricks and mortar. You've usually got a premium on there anyway. So you might be saving £5.
And it's clever as well, isn't it? If you've already downloaded that, because you've had your 10 hours
Yes.
free access, and then you're like, oh well, yeah, I'll just keep on playing. I don't have to go and get it. I don't have to wait for it to download. It's already here, and I get 10% off.
And I'm playing it 3 days before it's even released. It's that kind of thing, isn't it? There's a bit of a psychology aspect which probably does them a bit of good.
Yeah, it's a constant price that ticks over because, like we say, it's a fee. Unlike the Uplay one, it's a fee that you can't really grumble at or notice. Like if you paid it yearly, £20, you can buy that whenever. If you pay it monthly and it's $3.99, like I said, it's a cost of a coffee. A large latte or whatever. You don't really notice that going out a month. Whereas £15 for the Uplay one, which is only on PC and Stadia.
And it has what? I think they say more than 100 Ubisoft PC games for $14. To be fair, $14.99. I don't know what the price will be in the UK. I suspect probably around about the same, I think is what we were saying.
Yeah, there's not normally an exchange rate with these things.
But what do you get? I mean, do you get the brand new releases? I can't imagine you probably do.
Well, this is the thing, because we're now into the services which haven't actually got into operation yet. So this is due, 3rd of September to start. So we don't know the full proposition until it actually gets going. Even though there's plenty of detail out there. The more than 100 titles, we know at least 12 of those are Assassin's Creed games.
Yeah.
There's a couple of Trials games. They must be digging into a bit of their back catalogue as well.
I mean, it does say you get access to the season pass, the full DLC, everything else,
which is nice, but it's still expensive. And when you don't really know what you're getting, and if you add this on top of, so for Stadia, for example, because that's the only other platform that's going on bar PC, you don't know what you're getting, and do you have to have a subscription to Stadia and then this on top, or could you just have the device?
I'm going to say, this is a question with the Uplay Plus. Is this a streaming service or is it a download service? Because it's saying it's on PC and Stadia, which implies that an element of it is going to be streaming, even if it's just a Stadia element. On the PC side, it could well be download.
The other benefit for your $15 a month is that you are included into every beta and early access program, if that interests you, but you get added into them as part of the...
You get added into them for being on Ubisoft's mailing list.
Well, yeah.
For buying a Ubisoft game 25 years ago, you're automatically in their betas for life.
So it does. To be fair, I'm just looking over their US site. For $14.99 a month, you get access to their new releases. 100 plus PC games. You get the premium editions, including DLCs, expansions, automatic updates, early access to betas.
It says here that it's also not limited to downloads. Ubisoft is promising support for Stadia. So I think it says you can play games offline. So I think the offline mode, I think it is a streaming service. I think the offline mode is mainly for PC.
Yeah. Okay.
And the Stadia stuff is purely streaming. So it does sound like it's a streaming service.
So that kind of answers...
you can download games from the Uplay Plus catalogue at no additional cost.
Yeah.
So that kind of answers your question, Ali, that you're going to subscribe to your Stadia service if you're an early adopter this year, because we know the free version is not coming until next year.
Yeah.
And then if you want the Uplay Plus, you're going to have to pay the subscription on top of that as well, which is no different to any of the other services that we've talked about. You're paying for them all in isolation, as it were. And £15 a month is expensive, but actually, just if I put it in this way, would you pay £15 to play the full gold edition with all the DLC of Assassin's Creed Odyssey?
Not a month, because I'd probably have that subscription for about 6 years.
If it took you a month, if it took you 2 months to finish it.
But when you look at it as that kind of value proposition, and you have that, well, I could pay $60 for the full game, or I could pay $15. But yeah, like 3 or 4 months down the line, you've paid that amount anyway.
If it takes you that time and you don't move to anything else, then yes.
Yeah, but then also it's that, I guess you've got the back catalogue. In their defense, you will also get an atmospheric emblem for Ghost Recon Breakpoint, and you'll get a hat for Watch Dogs Legion. So, I mean,
sold.
this is selling
Yeah,
itself.
let's get on it.
I'm not going to lie.
I haven't even got a PC that will run any of them, but I'm there.
I see what you're saying, Matt, because for £15 a month, let's say, because that's probably what it will be, there or thereabouts, you will get all of the Ubisoft games, and they do release a new game every quarter, let's say.
They're fairly regular, and I think with this, it's pricey compared to the others. I think for the period you subscribed, if you've got the hardware to run the games, it's probably not bad value as long as you put in the time into it. But then the same goes for any of the services. Yeah,
but there's some chunky titles there. Whereas on
I guess the question is, would you normally spend more than $180 on Ubisoft games in a year?
Absolutely. I think between the three of us, we're probably buying 12 to 15 titles a year, whether it's the same one each or not. But
just Ubisoft ones, or
just Ubisoft. I think I've bought 2 Ubisoft titles this year already. If I count my Christmas sale stuff, it's 3, and I'm probably going to pick up another one before the end of the year as well.
It's not 12 on your own, though, is it?
No, but there's 3 there. And if it ended up being 3 at £40 each, that's £120.
But that's my point. You wouldn't have bought 3 or 4, Ubisoft games at $60 each, would you? Or you wait for them to come in the sale like all the other Ubisoft games do.
No, I tend to buy.
It's Far Cry you buy day one, don't you?
Yeah. Far Cry. Assassin's Creed is the only one that I don't buy at release. I do wait because I'm always about 2 games behind.
The value for money, though, if you were to divide that $15.90, not to get too technical into it and probably into a detail we don't want to go down, but if you were to divide that $15.99 by hours of play as well, it's extremely good value for money, which all of the services are. But from a Ubisoft's point of view, the fact that Assassin's Creed Odyssey could take you 100 hours to complete, it's not a bad service. It's probably more than that with all the DLC and whatnot.
All I was getting to the point of is actually, if you don't buy Ubisoft games now, it's probably not a bad deal, even if it does look to be on the pricey side at first glance.
And certainly the offering in terms of the quality of the games and the actual back catalogue you're getting is a better proposition than EA Access.
Yes.
But you're paying for that premium.
Yeah, you are. If this was PlayStation or Xbox available, it'd be something I probably would consider even at that price point, because then I would just stop buying the Ubisoft games and I'd use this instead.
Yeah, especially with you getting all the DLC as well. So I guess that's something that when you were doing your little calculation is something that you probably needed to put into that calculation, as well as the fact that it's not.
Yeah, you've got a £25 season pass on top of the £45 of the game.
Release date £80 maybe?
Yes. Well, that's it. That's what it tends to be, between 70 and 80 for their gold editions.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's coming to the Stadia. So I think that probably takes us to the bit you two are both bouncing up and down about.
I mean, I'll be honest, it's an interesting proposition. I'm a sucker for new technology and new principles, and all right, I never owned a Ouya, but
yeah,
there's a reason for that.
or on live, yeah. But this was interesting. I mean, it's what was it, basically £120.
£120, £190.99
for what, a £60 controller, a £70 HD Chromecast.
Yeah, the Ultimate Cast, I think it's called, isn't it?
The Ultimate Cast. And then, was it a 3-month subscription to the Pro service?
Technically, you get 6, don't you?
And then a 3 months. I was going to say a 3 month that you can give to a friend.
Yeah, exactly. So you just keep it yourself.
Well, it may knowing what they're like, it'll probably be a code and it'll probably be account locked. So I guess you probably can't use it on your own account.
Yeah, but
would be my
so
thought.
we could swap each other and we could both have 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah, we don't know the ins and outs of it. It depends on whether. Yeah, exactly. But so that's. It seemed like an interesting offering for a chance to have like the day one edition.
It's a special coloured controller, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a blue one.
Yeah,
but in fairness, if you want to get on with that platform. You don't need the controller. You could use your Xbox controller. You could use your PlayStation controller. You can use it on your PC, potentially on your smart TV. There's going to be lots of different ways to access the service. So I guess the real way to look at Stadia is that it's going to be two levels eventually when the full service comes along. So you've got your base, which is free.
Yeah.
And a lot of people complaining that you can only stream games up to 1080p with stereo sound, and then if you pay for the Pro subscription, which is £8 a month, $8.99 a month.
Yep.
Then you've got fully up to 4K HDR with 5.1 surround, and free games that you will be included. So far, Destiny 2 has been announced. I've pre-ordered, but I am very much on the fence for this one. I'm not going to lie. At the moment, if this is still the offering come October, I may well jump off the fence on the side of cancelling my pre-order, because there's a couple of things that trouble me about it. I think it could be interesting. I want to see how it plays out. And there's a lot of interesting things, but one of the things that does slightly bug me, and I get this whole thing about, you can only play at 1080p with stereo for the free subscription. You've still got to buy the games.
Yes.
To do that.
Which, of course, they're providing you with the service, the streaming service for free, but you've got to pay for the content because there's money got to go to the publishers somehow. Destiny 2 and whatever else comes with it. I know we're saying now there's only one game, because that's all they've announced. I'm sure there'll be other things in the subscription.
I'm sure there will be more. Yeah,
but actually, your free service doesn't even say you'll get Destiny 2, because that is part of the subscription model, isn't it?
Yeah, that's part of the subscription model.
I don't know which way it's going to go. I think they have an uphill struggle with an overestimation of people's broadband capabilities to go for the Pro service. I actually think the free service and offering it in the 1080 streaming with stereo will probably work quite well for a lot of people.
I mean, I'm interested because I've got a decent broadband connection these days, which is a luxury I didn't always have. So maybe I'm just overcompensating now. But potentially this is true. But the thing, the way I kind of justified it to myself is it's not entirely that different to the Amazon Prime Video model, in that you subscribe, you get some stuff for free, you can watch that, but actually you can buy and download videos, new releases and stuff on there, and then you get to own that.
Yeah.
The thing that would slightly, I guess the difference there is you can buy the stuff on Amazon and still watch it without paying the subscription.
Yeah.
The subscription is the value added. And I suppose the argument here is if you want 4K, there is a cost to that in terms of delivering it and in terms of the capability and technology they need to do that.
I'm surprised they've not bundled it in with their video streaming and a music service or something like that. I can't remember what their video is where you can watch Cobra Kai and stuff. But I'm surprised that's not bundled.
Is it YouTube
Premium?
Red? Or
YouTube
Premium?
Red,
I think it's Red in America, Premium here. Yeah, I'm surprised that's not bundled in, because then that would add a little extra value to your cost.
I tell you what you've just made me worry about, though, is that if you decide to go for the free version, are you stuck with the level of adverts that YouTube have just started going through? They've really ramped it up recently.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I'd noticed that as well. And again, for a completely free service, that's the price you're paying.
Yeah,
fair enough.
True.
You get adverts. But when it's a free service and you're actually paying for the Sonic game that you're running on it, that wouldn't be welcomed. And I'm sure they probably won't.
No, I don't think they will.
Yeah.
I don't think they will. I'm just being facetious after getting everything that I watch interrupted every 3 minutes for unskippable 25-minute long infomercials.
I can't moan about it because I make money off it. So.
That's why I don't watch Gone Wolf channel.
Charming.
He's not having my pennies.
Yeah.
But for myself, I am similar to you, Andy. The one thing that's swaying me more to keep in my pre-order at the minute is the fact that the xCloud announcement at E3, well, there wasn't really an announcement. I was
Yeah, that's
not
true.
hoping,
Yeah, it never came, did
but
it?
what I was expecting to happen post E3 was I'd have, right, this is the xCloud offering in my left hand, and this is my Stadia pre-order in the other one. Which one do I get more value for money out of? Which one's going to benefit me more? And the xCloud one was, yeah, we're still working on it. It's going to be live later this year. Yeah.
There was that real feeling of anticipation after the Google event, actually, where pretty much the internet just breathed a collective sigh of, oh, let's see what Microsoft do.
Yeah.
And then the answer was, yeah, later.
Pretty much, yeah. Whether they're saving it for Gamescom in August, I don't know. But it was just kind of like, well, yeah, you can play it on anything. This is it running. And that was it. And it's like there's some stuff come out afterwards where you use your console as either a service or you can do something with some of Microsoft's servers. But like Matt said, he said, well, is it just remote play now? I don't know. I honestly don't know.
This is the thing. I think with the way Microsoft are going, I wouldn't be surprised. You're right. If they do announce something later in the year and that the following hour it is available, they're not doing huge amounts and holding on to it for years. This UWP sounds like it's pretty much cracks given how they're providing some of these services now. And I think, yeah, you'll get more later in the year, but we just don't, like I say, we just don't know. We just don't know.
I was half expecting when they said, oh, the Game Pass Ultimate, and it's like any of the games on there, if you've got xCloud, the app for free, sign into your account and you get to play every single Game Pass game on whatever device it is if you're part of that subscription.
Yeah.
And you know, your saves carry across and all that. You log in with your Xbox account, xCloud is there, you download the app on whatever device you've got. We're on all these different devices.
Yeah, including the Switch.
You get to play your games. Yeah. The Switch, that baffled me because Nintendo and Microsoft have been talking on Twitter and you've seen them on different things. Minecraft's there.
That's always an indication that something's going to happen, though. Seeing it on Twitter.
Yeah, but then nothing.
It's how the youth get their news, Matthew. Come on.
I forgot that. Let me just head out and put out 280 characters of bull and see if somebody swallows it.
Yeah.
I don't even need to joke about that, do I? Somebody will.
So Stadia is an interesting one because I don't know if with the Uplay, if you have to have the Stadia streaming service to be able to do the Uplay stuff, or is it just like an app that you install or put onto your Stadia device that uses that platform, but you don't have to pay for it because you're paying for Uplay? I don't think it's going to work like that. But
not a clue.
I guess we'll see that. Maybe that's it. Maybe you'll be able to for £15 a month, you'll be able to play whatever Ubisoft game you like up to 1080p, and then you got to pay the additional £8 if you want it in glorious 4K surround sound. We'll see when it comes out. Stadia, it's an interesting proposition, and I think it will either, if it doesn't work, people are going to stop adopting it. People aren't going to support it. I suppose the one advantage it seems to have is that it'll be running, I assume it'll be running PC versions of the games from those kind of servers, and there won't need to be a lot of development work for it. Pretty much anything should work on it would be my suspicion.
And there seems to be a lot of support from developers for it. So I guess there's something there where they're kind of like that they like the look of it. I know some developers will jump on anything. Like Bethesda will put Skyrim on anything they can.
Yeah.
But
the Texas Instruments TI-80 version of Skyrim.
Yeah.
It's the only one that Colin doesn't own.
Probably, yeah. He'll be messaging you to find out where he can get it.
Only because he doesn't know how to get into program mode of a graphics calculator.
But there's a lot of other services and game developers that said, yeah, we'll put our games on there. And like when the Switch came out, there was a lot of reservations about that system after people might shoot me for this, but the flop of the Wii U. The Wii U wasn't a success I was expecting it to be.
No.
And
that's
EA...
That's a reasonable statement, yeah.
Yeah, and EA basically pulled their support from it. And then the Switch has come along.
So did a lot of publishers. A lot of publishers abandoned
Ubisoft,
the Wii U.
Yeah, I think they said, we're not doing stuff for it.
I think Ubi may have hung around a little bit longer than a few, but I mean, Ubisoft came out swinging with the Wii U with Zombie U, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and again, like gradually developers dropped it. So when the Switch came out, there wasn't much in the way of third-party developers. It was mainly anything that's primarily Nintendo-only games. Now, they're not necessarily Nintendo-owned companies that are building games for them, but they just stick to that service, maybe because they're Japanese or whatnot. But
I think with respect as well, Nintendo don't always help themselves. The Switch is a great offering in what it is, but they don't always help themselves by not keeping parity with the other console manufacturers, in that, we're getting a lot of slightly older ports, and to bring those games to the Switch, to that technology is amazing.
Yeah.
Even if there are some trade-offs and a few graphical downgrades to be had, it's phenomenal. The idea of having The Witcher 3 on the bus is pretty,
that's amazing.
Great.
Yeah,
but
just make sure you don't nod off while you're playing it.
But yeah, I guess until the big companies kind of knew there was going to be an install base, we didn't see a lot of that coming out of the gates early. You're right.
Yeah.
But Stadia seems to have that before it's even bolted.
Maybe that's it. Though maybe that's it
already, ready to go.
If you can use it on any PC, if you can use it essentially on any if it can be used on any smart TV, then the install base is kind of there.
Yeah.
So if EA Access went on there, do you think that, and at its current price point, would that almost be not quite a match made in heaven, but that would be like an ideal base for it?
Yeah, and I think that's the other thing that developers need to think about, is that, if everybody's bringing out their subscription services, maybe we all need to play nicely and not, there is a point at which you have to say, I cannot afford any more of these services. I'm not going to pay for any more of these services.
Yeah.
And the EA model, maybe that works. Maybe if you sit there and think, oh, this isn't actually really costing me that much, pare it back, rotate the games more regularly, but, give a more limited offering, but make it, make it more wallet friendly.
It's interesting that whether it's Europe or just UK that don't like to work with others very well, because in the US, from the movie side of things, you have that Movies Anywhere, I think it's called, which pull in your films from Google Play, from Apple, from all these other services into one service, and you can just go, right, I own this and I'm playing it. And they're trying to bring it over here and not doing too well, and with the demise of Ultraviolet,
I know. I've lost a lot of films there.
Well, there's still,
but all mine are available in is it Flickster?
Flickster, yeah.
So
it's very fragmented, and I'm wondering if that's a UK law, an EU law that's preventing these things. But I think that's what ultimately you will need, or that needs to happen. Is you don't even have to pay for that service. It's just a app or a button that you click on that pulls everything in. These are all the games that I own from all the different subscriptions, and off we go.
Yeah, maybe that's what Stadia is going to do.
Maybe.
Right. So, how do we sum up our thoughts on the game services then?
There's too many of them. Genuinely, there's just like, I get it. I get it, and then we've got actual consoles and buying games on top of that as well. I get it. There is a lot of choice, and I just the market just seems to be so fragmented in terms of these things that I genuinely, we've sat here tonight and we spent 20 minutes before we do this just like going, oh yeah, there was that one and that one and that one. How much was that one?
Yeah.
And I mean, Matt, you've done some calculations. How much does it actually cost if you want to be a gamer using these services these days?
A lot of money. It sort of depends, because we don't know which other services Stadia is going to take on board. But as a PC gamer at the moment, you're talking somewhere near 50 quid a month if you subscribe to everything that we've talked about, because all of them are on the PC. That's your one consistent factor here. A PC gamer, somebody who's spent the requisite amount of money on getting a machine that's going to play these games, which isn't cheap in the first place, is then looking at potentially 50 quid a month if they wanted to subscribe to all of these places, plus the cost of whatever games they buy on the Stadia as well, if they partook in that. It's not cheap, But then the odds of somebody taking on all of them are probably quite slim. You're probably going to pick and choose. So it's quite hard to say.
And there are deals and ways to get cheaper codes as well.
Yeah.
So,
but ultimately, we're sort of saying 50 quid a month. It's 10 games a year. So if you don't play 10 games a year, then it's good. It's probably reasonable.
Yeah, and I guess that
to think
that model
you're not gonna
is that maximum price is for your hardcore gamer, someone that is sinking 5-6 hours a night, maybe more.
If you're that person, it's probably decent value.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know. There's the very cynical side of me that says, yeah, it's great. It's good for people who can play 5 or 6 hours of games a night. It's better for the game companies, for people like me who can't play 5 or 6 hours. It's like having a gym membership.
Yeah.
They want to hook me, and then they want me not to use up all their server resources.
Yes, pretty much. Yeah,
that's pretty much it. You pay your money, but don't use it.
I quite like some of the services, but I do think the market's starting to get saturated with them, and if everyone's doing them, it starts to put you off. I don't know about you guys, but rather than going, I don't know which one to pick, it's like, I just can't be bothered with any of them. If I want a game, I'll just buy it.
Well,
I know I have that luxury,
but then they're not losing out, are they, if we do that? Because we're going and buying the titles that we want.
Yeah. Or you'd wait till they're on offer, or you buy them secondhand. Yes. And I know the secondhand one is a dirty word to a lot of these developers because they don't get any money from it.
That's their bugbear, isn't it? But it's interesting. Like I say, the EA Origin Access is the one that I'd probably be most tempted by because it's, like I say, it is cost of a couple of cups of coffee at work. That's it.
And for £4 for that month, you could just go, right, when Jedi Fallen Order's coming out, I'll subscribe for a month, get 10 hours, see what I think.
Yeah.
If it's an EA dive bomb taking the mick out of a Star Wars game, then I've not lost out. If it's great, I'll buy it or
get 10% off, and
I get 10% off. Yeah.
So I think they've all got the merits. I think there's a couple of drawbacks in there, but actually nothing major, nothing at all. Yeah. And the biggest surprise: 750 games on PS Now.
Right.
I know, right?
I mean, seriously, where did they come from?
And that's across the board as well, isn't it? That's just not.
But that's PS2, current gen, PS3, and PS4.
I think there's some PS1 games on there, isn't there?
I don't know about the PS1, if I'm honest. There probably are. You can't download those. You can only download the PS2 and PS4 games.
Yeah, cool.
But anyway, that's stunning amount of games. Yeah, Ali, you're going to have to try it out and let us know. How does it work?
I'll have a look.
Yeah,
and I'll try some quirky games just to see if it's just, the new and shiny ones. Oh, they work great. But then if you try something from the PS2 catalogue that passed me by, and it's janky as hell.
That was all I played when I tried the free trial. I just played stuff I would never ever spend money on. Yeah. I think Kabbalah's Big Hunt was one of them, and Painkiller, and a few other things. The stuff I'd never have bought, I thought, I'll give it a go.
That's the thing with some of these services that are a luxury. So Stadia I wouldn't class as a luxury because you kind of need that to use the equipment. But for stuff like Game Pass and PlayStation Now, it gives you that opportunity to play games that you wouldn't normally play.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. That's how I played. Was it Unraveled?
Oh yeah.
Oh, did you do that through Access?
I played that on Access. Yeah, when that was first out.
I'd have to try out what's the two guys in the prison? No Way Out? Not No Way Out.
Yeah. Is it A Way Out?
A Way Out. Yes. Yeah. We'd have to try that, Andy, at some point.
Cool.
He wants to be your prison bitch.
So these will go on our website as well when the episode is released. So when you're listening to this now, you can go onto the Codec Moments website, and there'll be a list of all the services, how much they are, and just a little bit that we've discussed in this episode, just in case there is something that maybe caught your ear that you might want to get. It'll be on the website, so you can have a look there.
Or if you're being fancy and listening to it on a podcast app, it might even be in your RSS feed for the episode.
Ooh.
And don't forget, you can send us a stamped addressed envelope for a fact sheet from today's episode.
Go on our CFAX page.
Okay, well, that's been a really interesting discussion, actually, and I've learned things I didn't know about.
Yeah, PlayStation Now's games.
Thanks very much for joining us. Don't forget, if you want to contribute your thoughts and feelings on the absolute multitude of gaming services that happen to be available at the moment, you can tweet at Codec Moments. And you can visit our website, codecmoments.com, for lots more reviews and other gaming news and information. We will be back next week with, I say we, I've just noticed what the topic is for next week's episode. It's going to be a Formula One game special.
Yay! So you might not be with us.
I might be excluded. Yeah, because you two want to go off and talk about Formula One on your own. Yeah, losers. Well, anyway, enjoy that, everybody. Formula One special next Thursday, hopefully, depending on
availability of
the game.
Yes. Well, thanks very much for listening, and we'll be back soon. Goodbye.
Bye.
In a bizzle.